Well, I wondered what area of my life would be the most interesting to people out there, and I'm not going to follow any particular rule. I received a phone call today from a longtime friend, a good friend. He loves the Lord, and more than all, he loves me, and he loves to play golf. I remember back in the days when I first met him. He would think nobody was watching him, but I was watching him, and he'd put his hands down and he'd line up on the imaginary ball and the imaginary putt. And I thought, man, alive. I don't think I'd ever get to a place where I eat, sleep, and drink it. And when I was 56, I went through a period of break in my ministry, and I, for a short time, was in the business world. And I noted that a lot of the businessmen did their meeting on the golf course. So I went over and bought me a set of clubs, and I agonized through. I finally got to the place where I would consistently shoot in the 90s. I knew that the golfers know what that means. After a number of years, and this friend of mine retired, and here we are with nothing to do except play golf. And there started a span of years and experiences on the golf course, around the golf course, having to do with golf. And he reminded me of some of the funnier times. One place we played frequently, the last part of my playing days, and there was a particular hole that was a bit challenging. Well, all were a bit challenging. This one had a very deep sand bunker to one side. And I got a big kick out of him, and he always took everything so serious. He went down that bunker. Sure enough, I followed him. So I lined up on my shot and got rid of it. I don't remember what the result was, but I immediately started to climb out of the hole. And it was a hole. It was way all over my head. And I started climbing up the side and just holding on the grass and anything I could get. And I lost a hold. And I slid back down on my stomach, slid back down in the bottom of the bunker. And he was so serious. He was not mindful of my condition, sliding back down in the hole. And I ended up, as I recall, my head was kind of between his feet. And I knew not to make any noise because you don't do that in a golf course. And he went in and played his shot. And then he looked down and he said, "What are you doing down there?" Oh my, it's just one funny time after another. There was a third person that we invited to join us, and in the latter years of going to this one golf course, it was always the three of us. And we had a bundle of time. We had a bundle of joy. Chasing that little white ball all over to the Johnson County. The third man we invited was always on the hunt for balls. He'd be out in the woods, we'd look around for him, couldn't find him. He'd be out in the woods, he'd be chasing a ball someplace. He'd always come out with far more balls than anybody else. Those were good days. And they were close enough in my memory that I talked with him this afternoon. And I just felt like, boy, if I could get out there again and follow along in a golf cart and cheer him on, jeer him a little bit, but we would have a delightful time. We had such a delightful time. I learned a lot playing with these guys. I learned that you don't talk. That's pretty difficult for somebody like me, but I learned. And once in a while, the ball went in. But that was secondary. I don't remember any of those putts that I made, fantastic shots that I made. The time I holed out the drive in Shawnee Mission Park, I don't remember that. It was fun at the time, but the memory links on. And the time of competition, good-natured, with two brothers who love the Lord, and we learned a lot. I don't know whether they learned much from me, but I learned a lot from them. I'm not supposed to mention names, but they know who they are. A lot of different things come to mind. Now I'm going to turn the clock back, way back to, when I was about 12, 13. I was invited down to work on my uncle's farm. And my reason for going was he bought an old used pickup baler. They were kind of few and far between in those days. That was during the war. And the longevity of the machine depended on the mechanical capability of the guy that took care of it. And he took good care of it. A little Massey Harris tractor, smallest one of the bunch. And I went down there to poke wires. I went down there and actually tied wires. You know, anybody remembers bales of hay that are put up with wire, they'll remember that. But I was paid 50 cents an hour. Well, that was big money. I was at the middle 40s. And I went down there and worked away in the hot summer sun. A lot of, I get a kick out of the weathercasters in the area. Anytime the thing gets above normal, gets above 90 degrees, they call it hot. Well, they don't, we didn't in those days. They didn't have anything for 110. And there were a lot of days that we baled hay. The field was surrounded by hedge trees or whatever, and not a breeze stowing. But we suffered, but we made it. Had a lot of good memories. The man poking wires, he did it for, 2-3 years at the best that I can remember. And he never got excited about anything. He was just quiet, never said much. One day we bailed up a hornet's nest. He bailed out of the baler in no time at all, and he was halfway across the field before we got him stopped. And we bailed up everything. Oh man, we bailed rabbits up and snakes and anything that happened to be on the ground, it got picked up. And of course, it was the hay was cut down and put in windrows by a side delivery rake, and we made it through the summer. But the next summer, I got the invitation again, and I didn't think twice. That year we got paid a penny a bale, and so it was to our advantage to have long days and good paychecks. And a good paycheck is just what it was, penny a bale. And we baled for, I don't know how much he charged for baling. But the next year I graduated up. I was driving tractor more. I don't know how much, but I seemingly drove any time that Uncle Bill didn't want to drive. And as a 13-year-old boy, he made me the head of the crew. Now the reason for that is that he combined also. Had a little 4-foot Alice Chalmers combine. And it was a power takeoff. You had to have the tractor to run it. Well, he'd take off to combine wheat and oats, and left me, he said, you take over. I had to get a tractor. I knew nearby family had a flock of boys. I got one of the boys, and he was about 9 years old, in a Stanley tractor. And he put on the book, and then we had a man that was 35 or such a matter. He did the feeding and the tying, traded off with me. And then always old Speedy, the dependable wire puncher. And we started out the first morning, and I was in charge of the lunch, 13 years old. I wouldn't even drive behind the ear. So, although as a member of a farm family, I drove anywhere, did anything I wanted to do. And it was not common for me at 13 to